Another day, another heresy. Today we'll be painting a Nightlords, I guess we can call him a sergeant. He'll be equipped with a power claw from the Mark III kit from the old days, a bolt pistol from the Chaos Legionaries kit, and a jump pack. The base of this armor will be the Mark VI Assault Marines from the Horus Heresy. The helmet will be a Saturnine Terminator helmet from, of course, the Saturnine Terminators. We're going to go with the one with the little spikes on the helmet. For his claw, it will be from the Mark III Tactical Marines, the old version. This way, instead of having it as a power fist with the claws and laid on top, the claws will just be on the model. Now, we're going to base coat our model in Cantor Blue. Next, we're going to take Lead Belcher and paint up our claws, the turbines on the backpack, details on the backpack, the studs on the shoulder, the belt buckle, the power cables on the armor, details on the helmet, and parts of the bolt pistol. While it sounds like a lot, it's really not. It's actually quite simple. When it comes to painting the claws, I recommend doing a line over the top, a line over the knuckles, and along the sides of the knuckles. When it comes to painting the actual sides of the blades, I recommend just painting the top of the blades and leaving the actual bladed part as black. This will make it look very nice when we add on our blood later. And for the blood, that'll also be one paint as well. Now in this video I will apologize as I forgot to paint the black carapace on the armor, which, of course, we would typically paint Abaddon black. The black carapace has been consistently forgotten on specific models, and other times it has been remembered fruitfully. The black carapace isn't really one of those main focus items though, so it's easy to see how it will be forgotten. Now that we've moved on to the backpack, or jump pack, we will start off by painting the small vents at the bottom of the backpack. As always, our metallics will be done in Lead Belcher. This is a very simple model to paint. Not much detail goes into this one, until we get to the lightning effects that we do later. Lightning is one of those things that looks tricky at first, but once you learn how to paint lightning, it becomes quite easy. It's one of those things that actually requires only 3 steps, each of which will be detailed later when we eventually paint the lightning onto the 4 segments of armor that we've chosen: the leg, the chest, the shoulder pad, and the center turbine on the jump pack. As we continue painting our Nightlord, I would like to advise that this is a very bare minimum model. If you have the upgrades, time, or dedication to your army, I would recommend adding on fun little bits. Skin, of course not real skin, but fake skin, skulls, and other tokens that Nightlords would collect. If you have the ability, I would also recommend giving them their chain glaives. While I don't have any chain glaives on hand, nor do I have the proper bits to create a good looking chain glaive, I've always found them interesting. I wish that chain glaives were more prominent in Warhammer 40k, and I wish that we had more Nightlord models representing with them. And that goes for 40k and 30k. While 30k has a good amount of them, we have almost none in 40k aside from the Nightlords combat patrols that were recently released. Which, yes, I do know they are only legionaries with an upgrade sprue from that one kill team box, but still, justice for the chainglaive, please. Now, I'm gonna be talking for a bit because this is a very boring part of the painting process. Granted, this is one of the parts of the process that really brings our model to life. So, while yes, it is boring, it's also quite fascinating to go through. I enjoy this part very much. Now, when it comes to the bolt pistol, not much effort has to be put in here. Bolt pistols and bolters in general are very simple objects to paint. You paint the barrel, the sights, the back of the gun, where, typically on the gun a hammer would be bang, bang, bang. And then you paint the magwell along with the magazine in general. Now, we are going to take our word bearer's red, a very brownish red in my opinion, and honestly, this is the easiest part of the model. We are just going to paint the casing. That's it. So, you know, maximum effort, I guess. After this, we're also going to be taking our... I still cannot pronounce this, I think. Luganth... Luganth... Luganath Orange? This isn't a bit. This is seriously me trying to think about how to pronounce this. Luganath... Luganath? Luganath Orange, I guess. Ugh. And we're just going to paint that onto the eyeball of the gun. But before that, we're going to be taking our Screaming Skull and painting the helmet. While this will give us our bone coloring, it's not how we're going to finish the helmet off. We still have to paint our eyeballs. We still have to paint our weird little blood splotch. And we have to put a shade paint on there. Now, for this one, before we put the shade paint on, of course, just paint your entire Nightlord helmet like it's a cream skull. Make it white. Just, yeah, go wild. Not much to say there. Now, honestly, this model in this painting video, they actually hit a bit close to home. If I'm being honest, Nightlords were one of the very first armies I was introduced to in Warhammer 40k. My friend had convinced me to join the hobby, and he did it by showing me his models. While his models weren't anything to write home about, something about their dark blue armor with the light blue accents he painted. Granted, you couldn't even tell they were lightning at first. But I still fell in love with them because they were just that cool looking. Maybe it was something about the heavy, caked on paint. Maybe it was the fact that there was so much of it that you could just peel it off. Maybe it was the fact that it was my friend who showed me the models. Or the time he put into them. But they really spoke to me. I think that's why they've always held a special place in my heart. They remind me of a simpler time. Now comes the time that we take Nightlord brass and paint up the studs on their armor. They aren't heavy studs. They're just the light ones that you see on top of the Mark 6 Corvus Beaky shoulder pad that had the molecular responding studs. So, yeah. I actually just looked at the video and the model in post, and I actually had to fix up the center stud. So, sorry if I was a bit quiet. But we're also going to take our Nightlord brass and paint up the wrists of his bolt pistol arm. As it came from the Chaos Legionaries kit, it has the weird trim on there with the little pointies on there. I like the pointies if I'm honest. They're cool. And now that we're done with that, we can paint up the eyes of the model. This will be the rough draft before we actually paint them later with other paints. All we are going to do is take a little bit of Imperial Fist contrast and swipe it across the eyes. It's a very simple process and takes no time at all. But it is still an important step. This isn't though. Now that we are back after fixing the camera setup, we can finish with the other eyeball. We make the eyes yellow as the color of fear as the Space Marines major in scare tactics. During the Horus Heresy, the Nightlords brought an entire world into compliance by live streaming the skinning and flaying of babies. Yeah. They weren't really the type to go to war, so, scare the people. Yeah. Fun. The more that I think about it, I think it's just that they have cool lore. Now, we're going to take our technical paint Spirit Stone Red and just dot it on the entirety of the model, basically. Mostly the hands, a little bit on the chest, and of course, on the helmet. Now, make sure that you get a good amount on the claw. It's really where it matters for the blood work. Because, you know, it's 5-bladed talons. Of course, you're going to be using them to impale, sever, and just cleave people in twain. Now, to make sure that it doesn't puddle too much, just get your napkin and dab a little on there. Well, off the model onto the napkin, of course. While making the model look dirty, keep it clean at least. As I said, paint onto the hand. Not much to really comment on here. I mean, I can comment that my dog actually laid at my feet at this part, but like, it's under the desk, so you can't really see that. It's a husky. She's pretty. She talks a lot, but she's pretty silent whenever I record, oddly enough. Kinda nice. Now, as I said earlier, this part can be skipped. I don't like how it turned out, but it was recommended to me by my friend when he told me how to paint Nightlords, so yeah, I guess an homage to him. Now, we're gonna take sepia seraphim, or actually, what is it called? Seraphim sepia. Got it. Seraphim sepia shade paint, and just put it on the helmet. This will brown up the bone color and make it look more natural. If you're ever painting skulls, I recommend Screaming Skull and Seraphim Sepia for the bone coloring. It looks very nice. Moving on, we are now going to paint lightning. Now, only two of these paints are actually needed, and that is Corax White, the base paint, and for the contrast blue, Ethermatic Blue. This paint I actually got the day before, and hadn't tried it out yet. After trying it out, it's official. I have fallen in love with it. Now for the lightning, just do what you do with fire. Both straight lines. Instead of making it weirdly shaped big clumps, just kind of dot it along a made up pattern. And my dog is now crawling under my chair again. I don't know if you could hear that, but she was crawling under the chair. Is this part of the video busted? What's going on? Oh no, it's not. I just took a weirdly long time. Now, this is the main part of the model that I want to show off. See, this is what I mean by make it weird and wild. I had no idea how I was going to paint this, and I was actually quite a bit nervous too, as I know lightning can be messed up very easily. But regardless, just do a weird pattern. Make it flow. If you want a good way to paint lightning, take your wrist, put your hand as far back as you can, and look at your veins. The way they move. That's one of the methods I use sometimes. For example, one of my veins goes straight, connects to another vein, and then branches off into basically a trident point. Three lines going in separate directions, but also straight. Think of lightning as veins. It works. Now for the rest of this part, I will be silent, that way you can just focus on the paint. Now, after trimming down the painting a little bit, because, that was it was 8 more minutes of just raw, unfettered, like, painting of white. I left 4 minutes there, so don't worry, I think. Now we paint on Aethermatic Blue. It is a very light sea foamish, light blue color. It looks good. I wonder how this would look as plasma coils. But all we do here is just paint it on. As you can see, it's taking our bright white and turning it into a bright blue. Now, as seen by the torso, I did mess up on the lightning a little bit, so even now, goes to show that even good painters can still mess up. And yes, I only consider myself good, despite being constantly told that I'm better than good. I don't buy into it though, so, you know. Now, this is my favorite part, the shoulder pad. I think it looks good. And with that, we are just about done with our model. With that, I'd like to thank all the subscribers. My girlfriend, her mother, her brother, Valerie, Naomi, Phoenix, and everyone else. Bye bye.